Hello and welcome to another video on my attempt to get my rating up to 2400. I'm actually playing the daily rapid arena. It's rated, so the points are affected one way or the other. I'm berserking because I've joined a little bit late, so in order to win this thing, or to get a respectable score as it were, I need to more or less win an awful lot of games and also do so quickly. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. I'm almost playing Blitz while they are playing Rapid, not Blitz. It's 10 minutes with 0-second increments, except for me, who is obviously blitzing it out. Alright, let's go Bishop E2. So this game is a Sicilian. I'm just trying to quickly castle and not lose a ton of pieces. Let's see, they've got 3 pieces attacking my knight. I've got 2 defenders, so that means I need to quickly guard the knight, not castling. If pawn to E5 attacking my knight, I can go knight C2 now, and I just about hold my position together. But it is looking a bit ropey, I won't lie. If they castle kingside, I actually have a cunning move. Knight takes knight. If they take my bishop on E3, I then go knight to E7 with a fork on their king and queen if black castles. They don't castle, they play E5. So again, my prepared move, knight to C2, protecting my bishop, getting out of the way, attacking their queen, which they spot. They're not a bad player, the 2100. They take my bishop, I immediately recapture. The time difference isn't so bad now. Right, they have got bishop takes A2 as a potential move. I'm not overly concerned with that. In fact, I actually want to trade off some more pieces because I'm a little bit worse in space. Their central pawn on E5 is annoying me. If they take my bishop, I will recapture with my knight, attacking their pawn, which is exactly my plan. Knight to D6 is also a move. They have played castling. I am not going to castle. The reason is it's the ending already, so active kings are needed. I'm going to play king F2. Right, they have done a move, B5, attacking me. I'm actually going to reroute my knight. I'm hoping for rook B8, where I can then play knight to D7 with a fork. I'm expecting rook D8, which is exactly what they do. Now knight D5, this is the point of my maneuver. I've centralized the knight, and I'm preparing to double on the D file. So rook to D2 looks very safe for a rook. I don't need to worry about stuff. They are improving their king. I'm playing rook D1. So I've got some potential like forks and discovered attacks and annoying things like that. Got 3 minutes on my clock. They've got 8.5, so they are definitely ahead, but we are in an ending. This may not matter too much. You can see on the left hand side the standings. Someone's actually on 31 points, hence my reason for berserking. I think king E3 might be a safety move. Yeah, I want to say king E3 is good and safe. What this does is if they play rook D8, which I'm expecting, which they did, I can now play, I want to say knight B4 is interesting here. So knight B4, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, king takes, knight takes knight, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes knight, sorry, on B4. They'll have a kingside majority, I'll have a queenside majority, and my pawns are all blocked up and useless. So that doesn't look too fun. Knight C7 then is an interesting move. Knight C7 is interesting. I don't really like it too much. Yet again, I don't actually need to play a knight move. I'm fully protecting it. So I'm actually going to play, I want to say B3, but then again, I don't like it. 2 minutes. I need to make a decision fairly quickly. B3 is a move. I'm trying to go C4. This probably isn't any good, but I am down to like a minute or two. So I need to quickly do a move. If king to E6, which I haven't played, I will then go knight to C7. So now knight B6 is looking interesting. Knight C7 is also interesting, attacking the pawn. Rook takes rook, rook takes. I'm going to go knight to C7 and trust that the position is with me. Right, then king takes. If they capture me, I'm not going to play any fancy moves. Yeah, I pre-moved. I'm attacking their pawn. Knight B8 is what I suspected they would do. Okay, now a quick C4. I need to get a passed pawn quickly. It's isolated, not amazing, but I am improving my pieces. So king c3. They still have to protect, and I'm going to win a pawn. Free move again. I'm a little bit nervous about my time. I still have almost 2 minutes, but because there's no increment, I can't make the time back. We'll win another pawn. Hooray! And now things are looking very, very good. Knight to c6 is played. I want to improve my own knight, so knight to g3. There's no forks for them. There's no real target apart from a2. If they played knight d4. Fine. Okay, knight d4 is all right. There's no moves to attack me, so I'm now going to run to their pawn, doing a runner. King to e6. I'm playing a little bit risky here. I'm leaving my... oh, f5 is a very good move. I was going to go knight to e4 check if they played king d6. They played it anyway, so quick king b6, shutting in their king. This is looking very, very bad for them. I'm going to go c5, c6, c7, promote. Unless they do something radical. Check. Checks are good. I like checks. King over. Knight to e4 just looks like the reasonable, sensible move. Defending my c-pawn, centralizing my knight. My h-pawn is now ready to run. I think they could resign if they wanted to. My a-pawn's also ready to run. This looks like it's over. I said it looks like because you can never be sure in these positions. You always have to play it out to the end. Don't get lazy. Don't relax until you've made them resign. I've got my mouse hovering over the pawn. Ooh, they have played the king move. I am going to chuck my pawn up. They're going to sacrifice their knight. That's fine. I'm not going to play dangerous. I'm just going to take all their pawns. There's no way they are winning this match. Or even drawing. They resigned. Good. Okay, so I got 3 points for going berserk. Having only 5 minutes on my clock. I am going to, full disclosure, I'm going to berserk every single game. Doesn't matter who I'm playing. Because as you may see next to my name, Square Taker, I'm moving down the list. I'm 384th out of just over 1,000 people. So while that's statistically okay, I'm sort of in the top 40%, or 35% possibly. I'm not amazing at maths, but I think it's top 35%. I don't really want that. I want to be in the top... I want to be top 40 would be good. I'd like to be top 40. Probably, maybe even better, maybe like top 20 if I get paired anytime soon. I'm waiting about a minute. I may get an easier pairing because I've got 3 points. Yeah, I've got 1700, right. Berserk. And let's kick off with a French, but then confuse them with b6. So I'm playing a kind of Owen's defense, transposed. I'm just going to play bishop b7. There's no need for me to play all down the line openings, because my opponent's weaker than me, so they should go wrong first if I don't, really mess up. If I go d4 as well, d5 as well, they could trade pawns on d5, then play d4, going into a French exchange, which is notoriously drawish. So I'm going to now switch to a kind of Nimzo-Indian style. Again, trying to confuse my opponents. d6 is probably not the best move, but it keeps things flexible. It's a small centre. My bishop's almost trapped, so I am going to have to give up the bishop pair, which I don't mind too much. Again, we're just getting an interesting position. White is probably a bit better due to the bishop pair and their central space, but it's the kind of strategic position that I can play, and I'm not, completely cramped and forced into a line. If they push their e-pawn, I'll play knight d5, I think, or knight to e4 to, again, sort of put pressure on them. If they play d5, I think I can just take it. So their 2 pawns are not ready to run yet. I'm thinking about playing pawn c5 fairly soon, but before I do that, their queen's lined up with my king. Looks a little bit dangerous. Let's just play a simple move. Now, e5 looks very, very tempting. e5, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, rook e8. If I go rook e8 straight away, I'm not liking it as much. So e5 is fun, but I'm actually going to go c5 for this move. I like this a bit better. It's sort of more in the spirit of the hippo, which I'm not quite playing, but I'm close. I'm thinking if they take me, I'll play knight takes. And I won't have to double my pawns if they take on f6, because my queen can then capture. So I'm really, really running at them, trying to get central control with my mass of pawns charging. They've got the, well, they did have what I call the Capablanca Knights. Their knights are on f3 and c3 until I traded, and that blocks their f and c pawns, reinforcing their centre. So their central pawns can be kind of chipped away. They have played pawn takes. I am going to capture with my knight. Bishop pair is all mine now. I mean, I gave it up originally, but I'm also attacking e4. So I've got a threat. They've pushed e5. They're playing dangerous, living on the edge. I'm going to take that bishop pair off. I don't like it pointing near my king. It's just a little bit too nasty. I don't like this. Now I am going to trade. I'm generally better in endings than my opponents, especially when they're 1700. I've also damaged their pawn structure. If they take with their bishop, I'll take with their knight. I don't want opposite bishops. If they play knight takes, I'm thinking bishop g2 might be fun. It does open the g-file, but to be honest, I don't think their attack is going to be strong enough. If they go rook g1, I can also take on h3 with the bishop. So they are considering things. Castling queenside is illegal. My rook on d8 is preventing the king moving through check. Castling kingside does not look so fun. They have elected to lose a pawn. Again, I'm going to mess up their pawns. I don't want them having a good position. Let's improve my knight. Play the Ben Feingold move, knight f4, which is a bit of a shame because he got it from I believe a Greek grandmaster. So shout out to the Greek grandmaster. I cannot remember the name, so sorry for that, and sorry for not giving you credit earlier than this. Knight f4 is a lovely mnemonic device. I believe that's the name for it. If it isn't a mnemonic device, it's something that helps me remember the idea. Right, so my knight's perfect. It's blockading their pawns. It's attacking lots of things. They've played their rook over, so I now need to improve. I'm going to play rook a, c8. I'm hoping for rook takes pawn. Knight d3 with a check and a pin on their c pawn, so it's dangerous. If king b1, they lose the bishop. If king d1, they may fall into some traps and have more problems. I might swing my rooks up and across to double them on the d-file if king d1. White is being attacked, so they need to move their rook or their king, or face the mighty knight d3. Bishop c3 might be good, actually. Bishop c3 potentially is quite strong. I may have to break the, again, but I think this is Ben Feingold's rule, never play pawn f6. I may have to break that rule there to give my king f7, but also to protect protect e5 from c3 if they play their bishop there. He's spending a long time thinking, which in a way I want in this game individually, because it means they're going to get low on time if they think too long. But in the meta game of this tournament, I don't want them to think too long, because the longer this game lasts, the less time I have to make up all the points. They have played bishop c3. Very good move. f6. My knight, I think, is still better than their bishop. If they move their rook to d1, I'll play knight to e2 and then capture the bishop. That will double more their pawns. So that's even better for me. May even win a pawn. But I haven't calculated that far ahead. They have to do something, so they're going to have to make a move soon. They've done a move, which is interesting. Ooh, rook takes is quite fun. Knight d5 is also a bit of fun. I'm actually going to go h5. So this move is designed to stop any h-pawn pushes. They've left their pawn on an h4 dark square, so their bishop's made worse. My pawn's on h5, where it can't get taken off that square, so their bishop can't ever attack it. All my pieces are excellent. I now need to move my king, I think. King to f7 looks good, depending on what they play. If they move their bishop, I'm very happy. Knight d3 still works. And they're kind of paralysed here. They don't really have a good place to go. Rook h to g1 may be best, but then king f7 would get out of the potential, attack on my g-file. Stop them lining up their rook and with my king. King b1 now may be a bit better than it would be earlier. They have done king b1. Maybe they're listening to this broadcast, but somehow I doubt it. Maybe I should suggest a really terrible move, so they'll do that. I suggest playing rook to e2. Okay, they're not listening then, they haven't played it. So rook to e2 would obviously lose to my knight. They're going to play something else. Rook to d1 would challenge my rook. I think then I may play rook d5, because I can double on the d file if they don't take me. If they do take me, I'll undouble my pawns. e6 takes d5. So that will definitely improve my position. I'll be very, very happy. And if I double, I'll also be very happy. So I'm happy on both counts. Maybe rook d5 is actually a bit stronger straight away, actually, instead of king f7. But I just wanted to, get my king a little bit more active, put the fear into them. They have played their rook over. I don't need to worry too much about rook takes g7s. They don't really have a good way of setting up that attack. They've played rook to e4. I don't fully understand this move. Maybe I will come to understand it in the next move or so. Taking my knight seems to be incredibly risky. I don't think taking my knight would be too good. If they go rook to a4, which is potentially their idea, my rook on d8 may just shuffle up one square. They have not played it. They have played that move instead. So knight d5 is interesting. But first, I need to obviously not have something on d5. So I should have pre-moved. Now knight d5 looks a lot more fun. So I'm hitting their bishop. I'm really giving the bishop a tough time. e1's the only square which is not looking too hot right now. e1 does not look very fun to play. They've played rook over, so they are trying to... I see what they're trying to do, trying to not have their pawns doubled. That's fine. I'm happy with that. So g5, time to start rushing the pawns up. Now I'm going to take the bishop. So no, they're not going to have their bishop left on the board. I don't mind too much with this rook to c7 move, because I'm now ready to run. Run, rabbit, run. The pawn is charging up the board. It's very hard for them to stop. There's no open files for them to get back to. Rook a8 fails for a specific reason. I suspect they'll play that, so I'll do the big reveal when they played it. And for the first time, I've got more time on my clock. This doesn't fully matter because, it's pretty much winning for me anyway. But it is quite a nice psychological advantage for me to berserk and now to be ahead on time. Still thinking, what are they going to do? Rook to a8, I play a certain move. If they do anything else, like rook to e7, I think I can get away with either rook d6, guarding the pawn, still stopping them doing anything, or I could just keep charging. Charging may be better. And I don't see how they're doing anything. Rook to a8, the big reveal. I want to stop rook h8. That's the name. That's the thing I want to stop. So the way to do that, I think, is rook d7. I'm hoping that's the right move. If they go rook h8, I go rook to h7. Cut them off. And then they might just about be able to make it back with rook d7, rook d8, and coming all the way around to h1. But it's a close race. They haven't. They've played this move, which I think loses. But let's see. Rook to a4, I charge. If rook to g4, h2, and they can't quite make it in time. Rook to e4 is probably their only shot. And they're going to try playing rook to e1. Can you guess what I will play if they go rook to e4? Well, we'll never know, because I'd have played rook to d1, and that would stop them. Right, cool. So I'm now going to end this video, but I will continue in the next one.